A forgotten riverbed nestled in acres of New York farmland is home to Parma Disc Golf Course, the premier course of the greater Rochester region. In the decade since the national tour played at Parma had become overgrown and some holes had to be adjusted or even removed for safety. Over the last year, a complete redesign has been completed to challenge the DGPT caliber golfers as well as provide shorter, more family-friendly options to local residents. Hole 1 is a brand new 600-foot par 4 for both divisions, teeing off across a field with Tournament Central on the right to a narrow choke point with OB threatening on both sides. If you can get through the gap, you'll need to avoid the OB stream, but layup or not, your approach shot must land softly on the steep island green in order to stay comfortably within circle 1. Just down the path is hole 2, a 310-foot par 3 for both divisions with a narrow fairway that zigzags through mature trees and dappled sunlight. OB protects the spectator path along the right side of the fairway, but it also punishes any careless approach to the green, long or left. Place your drive short of the basket and find a lane for your putter. Hole 3 is a par 3 for both divisions and plays 440 feet for MPO. The tee shot is demanding and the entire left side of the fairway is thick with trees and brush. A right to left moving shot that stays in the short grass will leave the MPO competitors a long opportunity for birdie. The FPO shot is more open but requires precise control over the 370 feet it takes to reach the basket while avoiding the rough on the right and left. The longest hole on the FPO layout is hole 4. It's a beautiful par 4, throwing 680 feet for FPO and 815 feet for MPO. Both divisions must keep their drives out of the groups of small trees and grab as much distance as they can while staying in bounds. OB runs both sides of the fairway from start to finish as the relatively open fairway narrows down to a tunnel protecting the small green. There is OB long of the basket, so approach with care. Hole 5 is another par 4, 605 feet for MPO and 550 feet for FPO with an early mandatory to the left. The left side looms large throughout the hole, and players will need to stay centered and push towards the trees to make the most of their drive. Once past the elbow, players are faced with a low ceiling approach or even a tunnel shot that's slightly uphill and guarded by trees of all sizes. OB separates hole 5 and 6 to the right. Closing out the early stretch of par 4s is hole 6. 665 feet for MPO and 470 feet for FPO. OB on the left side between hole 5 and 6 encourages players to throw big drives off the tee and set themselves up for a clean second shot. OB behind the basket and thick rough around the green requires a precise approach shot to score the birdie 3. This basket will be elevated for the DGPT competition. Hole 7 is a 350-foot par 3 for both divisions that flows down and to the right with OB on both sides and a stream behind the basket. A left to right moving shot to the middle terrace will set you up for par, but it takes a full flex or plenty of luck to reach the basket. Across the bridge is hole 8, a 255-foot par 3 for both divisions with the basket perched near the top of an extremely steep green. Guardians protect the basket from left to right moving shots, and the safest place to land for birdie is hidden behind the pin. Climb out of the valley and step onto hole 9, a challenging par 3 at 460 feet for MPO and 335 feet for FPO. Both tee shots require the player to control their height well and may tempt some players into throwing a roller. The fairway slopes down and to the left where an OB cliff waits to punish your mistakes. Hole 10 is a 315-foot par 3 with a small pond in front of the basket and an even smaller green to land on. OB along the rough requires players to place a shot carefully near circle 1 or perhaps even lay up in front of the pond for a simple, no-stress par. This basket will be elevated for DGPT competition. Directly behind hole 10 is the par 3 hole 11 at 375 feet for MPO and 300 feet for FPO. Perhaps more of a hallway than a fairway, hole 11 requires precise shot making and disciplined play to avoid bogey strokes. There isn't any OB here, but the rough can be just as punishing or worse. Hole 12 is the partner to hole 11, but has two distinct fairways to choose from. It's 345 feet for MPO and 295 feet for FPO. It is reachable, but there are mature trees throughout the center and thick rough on the edges that make scrambling difficult. Once you get there, position is important because the basket is guarded on all sides. The longest hole in the MPO layout is hole 13, a 935-foot par 5, which begins a full drive behind the FPO hole, a 585-foot par 4. Whether in one or two shots, players will want to traverse underneath the giant willow and through the stands of trees that follow. Power and precision will get players all the way to the shaded green where the basket is perched on a small hummock. Hole 14 is a par 4 that plays from a wooded tee out into a low ceiling fairway and then drastically down to a hidden basket. At 520 feet for MPO and 445 feet for MPO, it's the finish of this hole that makes it so special. The basket is dwarfed by a cliff that can force players to putt nearly straight down if they don't reach the green. Hole 15 may be the most picturesque on the whole course. A par 4 that's 600 feet for MPO and 540 feet for FPO with a shallow stream defining the left side of the fairway. OB runs along both sides of this tree-riddled fairway, but ideal drives will reach this clear area and offer an open approach to the cliff where the basket is perched on the edge. OB behind the basket doesn't come into play until about circle 2, so aggressive approaches are encouraged. Shifting gears, hole 16 is just a 265-foot downhill par 3, but with an elevated basket for DGPT competition and an island green surrounded by OB, players will need to maintain focus. Players that don't make the island will be trying to save par from the drop zone across the stream 66 feet away. The penultimate hole, number 17, is a demanding 665 feet going uphill immediately off the tee and navigating through a crooked hallway. This MPO par 4, FPO par 5 requires controlled, straight shots to avoid thick, rough, and dense trees. Players who find the elbow of the fairway on their first shot will have a chance to double down and find the green to earn their reward. Hole 18 at Parma DGC is short but full of risk. At just 285 feet and 235 feet respectively, the basket is well within reach, but an island green and several guardian trees will punish drives that miss their line. Players will want to keep the disc high to reach the white basket, which means any bounce could land the disc out of bounds. Thank you so much for watching and checking out the new Parma DGC, home of Jim Palmeri's 50th American Flying Disc Open, presented by Dynamic Discs, a DGPT Silver event. If you haven't yet, make sure to go get tickets and come join us August 25th through the 27th to celebrate the history of disc golf and the Rochester roots of the sport. We love you, Jim.